We are reading from Kabbalah for the Student. We are on page 467. We are on the bottom, which is the third paragraph from the bottom, again on page 467, beginning in the words, however it is known. You may download this on Kabbalah TV as well as ask questions.
We are going over a process, actually, of what is happening to us in our roots. Before we discover ourselves that we exist in a certain reality, suddenly we discover that there is something around us, the environment. We begin to learn about that environment, where I am, where I was born, where I live, me, the environment, the world, what is happening here in general, the universe, and more and more and more. And then, when a person reaches the wisdom of Kabbalah, he begins to learn the roots of what he feels. Why do I feel the way I do, where I really am? If what I feel is it the reality, or is the reality is different? And I feel it, I perceive it in me in a certain way. What are the sources from where I am nourished, and this is how I depict myself in the reality? What is happening to me in my mind? Who gives me all those thoughts and desires? Where do they come from? How do I influence them and am included in a certain way in the form of connections with the surrounding reality? All that we try to discover. Also, as much as we try or lazy, and life forces us to come to it. So eventually we reach a recognition of the whole situation we're in to the fullest, with the reason why we're there and what is happening with reality, and why do we perceive it the way we do. Why do we have to discover the real reality beyond the reality that we now feel, and in which stages. So here he talks about a little bit about it. Of course, we don't quite understand what he's writing about to the fullest, but somehow, he says that our revelation comes in steps. Of course, everything relates to men, to us. Kabbalists, they don't speak in any other way, not about anything else, because perhaps the same reality, godly reality, is perceived differently by different life forms. We have no explanation for it, and no one will tell us about it. Rather, everything is as it is written. From your actions we have known you. This is what they perceive, and this is what they pass on to us. So they explain that our entire reality starts from the scene of the tree of knowledge. Through that action, actually, what is called the soul was formed. The soul was born, and it starts feeling itself. The smallest part in that feeling is called this world and man's body here, which we see in this world. And while we are learning about these roots and how they cascaded to us, along with that we learn how we in return should rise from the branches back to the roots. So let's start from line, and it was clarified. However,
it is known, once again we're on the bottom of page 467, however it is known that before one connects to the Kedusha, one must retire once more from any form of reception that he had received from the table of the Sita Acha, as the commandment of love came to us, with all thy heart and all thy soul. Hence, what have the sages done by this?
Sorry, let us find the right place.
will be consecutive in 2 consecutive times. His vessels of reception of the vacant space will grow to their desired measure by the separated pleasures that one receives because of them. Finally, when one reaches Gadlut and engages in Torah and Mitzvot, the ability to turn the great vessels of reception in order to bestow will be readily available. This is the primary goal, called the light of truth and the seal.
So the creature, the Creator, wants to come out of from that will resemble her, that will be so successful that he will reach the status of the Creator himself. He has to be comprised from 2 conditions, 2 qualities, 2 forms of nature. The nature of the Creator and the nature of the creature. The nature of the creature has to be because he is the creature, so that he will be independent, separated from the Creator. So this is on the one hand. And the nature of the Creator should be in him. He should have the form of bestowal, so that he will resemble the Creator and he will reach the same level of wholeness. How to do it then? How to combine between these 2 parts in one subject called human, Adam, so that these 2 forms of nature, they are completely opposite to one another. They have no connection between them. Which means can be between them that will connect them in such a way? And the means, this is what we now start to learn about. And the means are the situations, these special situations of Katnut and Gadlut. And that works like a transition from one nature to another. In Katnut, if we learn about the Kelim of Kusha, of sanctity in Katnut, they're all in bestow. In Gadlut, you can work with vessels of reception in order to bestow. But to reach such a state that they will be in Katnut, delighted in mercy and bestow, and in Gadlut, in order to receive, in order to bestow, first they have to be incorporated, they have to distinguish one another, they have to acquire screens, they have to reach that great desire and that great bestowal there is both in the nature of the Creator and in the nature of the creature, reception. So there is a very wide, very big action here. Rav Pa'alim Mekabtze El. First of all, there is Rav Pa'alim, and then in the El Mekabtze El, which he has to go through. And these actions mainly, they divide into the stage of preparation, where the preparation is from the side of the Creator. This is 1. And then from the side of the creature, this is 2. And then the stage of correction, which comes from the side of the creature. And then the stage of fulfillment. So these are already the actions from the side of the creature who already act in them and equalize himself to the Creator. So he explains here in this whole thing with the tree of knowledge how we come to a state where everything is already made after the scene of the tree of knowledge, when we are incorporated the vessels of reception and bestowal, the creature and the Creator, that great serpent with that angel of Adam Arishon before the scene. How do they connect together? And in their connection, how do they reach a state that they transfer to one another those discernments? So he says the following, and it was explained above that the case of the tree of knowledge is compelled for the Adam Arishon. Why? It is even written, Libel is herbal for the children of men. This is so because one must add to one's structure and one outer kli to receive the surrounding light. The great desire to receive the surrounding light, which is the entire great light of the creation. So the two opposites will come in one subject. This is the most important thing. In two consecutive terms, there will be two opposites, but the subject will be one, man. During the Katnut period, he will be dependent on the Sitra Achra, so will have the opportunity to receive more and more pleasures and to grow more as a result. And through the pleasures of separation that he receives from the Sitra Achra, the vessels of reception growing in the vacant space, meaning each has to function according to his soul in its relative way. And then when he reaches it Gadlut and engages in Torah and mitzvot in order to correct these vessels which he had acquired from the Sitra Achra, then he will have the ability to turn the great vessels of reception in order to bestow with their reality will be available for him. So he will do such a correction by Torah and mitzvot. This is the primary goal called the light of truth and the seal. So is that clear? Yeah.
Yuval is asking, how do we acquire such an external vessel for reception of surrounding light?
We spoke about it in the previous lesson. We said that it's because there's no choice. Like he gives us an example about the sword with the drop of poison, that you have no choice but to chase pleasures. And the pleasures are doubled each time, so you have no choice but to come to a very big empty will to receive until you die. And that emptiness, which appears eventually compels you, at the end of feeling all that emptiness, you discover that there's a solution to correct them in order to bestow.
Baal HaSulam writes in the Istaklut Pnimit of the first part, in letter 21, he writes, "Come and see that the wicked break down of their clumsiness, being that their whole acquisition is only for themselves, and the one who has one portion wants 200, it's found that they are suffering from two sides. One, from the multiplicity of actions, and from the deficit of the acquisitions that they seemingly lack half."
Meaning, the same light we wanted to attain, with the same desire we wanted the light to fulfill, now they both become a new deficit. The light brings new thickness. If you don't attain it in order to bestow, if it appears and immediately disappears, then you have a double deficit. Yes?
Eli from Ashdod is asking, if such, we have to be incorporated of two, like the Creator, how do we realize both these things in one thing?
So he says, in two different times. He says, in two different times. We already said that we are going to finish this introduction and then review it once more, because there are so many things here, so many things that we just can't cover simultaneously all at once.
However, it is known that before one connects to the Kedusha, one must retire once more from any form of reception that he had received from the table of the Sitra Achra, as the commandment of love came to us, with all thy heart and with all thy soul. Hence, what have the sages done by this correction if one loses everything he has acquired from the Sitra Achra?
We begin, after all the shatterings and everything that happens, we begin in this world with small desires that have no connection with spirituality.
For this reason, His providence provided the proliferation of the bodies in each generation. As our sages said, He saw that the righteous were few. He stood and planted them in each generation. This means that He saw that in the end, the righteous will repel the matter of self-reception altogether, and thus their surrounding light would diminish, since the outer kli that is fit for it will be repelled from them. For this reason, He planted them in each and every generation, because in all generations, a large number of the people are created primarily for the righteous, to be the carriers of the kelim of the vacant space for them. Thus, the outer kli would necessarily operate in the righteous involuntarily. This is so because all the people in the world are attached to one another. They affect one another, both in bodily inclinations and in opinions. Therefore, they necessarily bring the inclination for self-reception to the righteous, and in this manner they can receive the surrounding light.
So, the righteous are poor. They have big desires, they have big work to do, they have a big problem. Meaning the rest of the people, they cover the earth and they're scattered around the earth, and they use whatever they can on earth, and that's it. And the righteous ones are actually, it's the vessels of the vacant space.
However, accordingly, the righteous and the wicked should have been of equal weight in each generation. Yet this is not so. And for each righteous, we find many thousands of vain ones. Yet, you must know that there are two kinds of governance in creation. A qualitative force, and B, a quantitative force. The force of those that hang about the feet of the Sitra Achra is meager, contemptible, and low, undesirable, and purposeless, and they are blown like chaff in the wind. Thus, how can such as those do anything to wise-hearted people whose way is clear with desire and aim, and a pillar of the upper light shines before them day and night, sufficiently to bring the tiny inclinations in their hearts? Hence, He provided the quantitative force in creation, as this force does not need an equality. I will explain it to you by the way we find the qualitative force in strength, such as in lions and tigers, where, because of the great quality of their strength, no man will fight them. Opposite them, we find strength and power without any quality, as in the flies. But because of their numbers, no man will fight them. These wanderers roam man's house and set table freely, and it is man who feels weak against them. However, with wild flies, insects, and other such uninvited guests, although the quality of their strength is greater than the domestic flies, man will not rest until he entirely banishes them from his domain. This is so because nature did not allot them the reproduction ability of flies. Accordingly, you can see that there must necessarily be a great multitude for every single righteous. They instill their crude inclinations in him through the power of their numbers, as they have no quality whatsoever. Understand this well. There is not more what to add.
It's understood, right? Meaning that this is why there's a Kabbalist that sits somewhere in his corner, in his hidden place, and makes corrections, because at the soul's level everyone's interconnected, and in his generation there have to be other billions of people that don't have any great strength, but all of them together constitute a form of a receptacle that fits his work. So, without them knowing, he takes their vessels and advances them. He himself actually needs them in order to use them, in order to bestow. And this is how he advances them and advances the whole of creation to correction, until they grow and develop more and more. And that's how they advance. You can ask, how do they grow? Then you can say that wherever the world develops, whether it's technology, human society, whatever people build, whatever people do, everything that develops in humanity comes from that single individual's work that draws the light that reforms. Otherwise, there would be nothing of a new light in this world, and our world would simply be still, inanimate, frozen, or almost nullified. I don't even know how to imagine that, but by nature, according to nature's plan, there are people called the righteous, are the foundations of the world, and it's really so. People who draw the lights and use the external vessels of all the souls, all those little souls, and this is how our world exists. This is how it's sustained. And not only in terms of spiritual development for each and every one, and we still advance from one generation to the next. There's a bit more understanding and more sensation, but generally our entire development in our world also stems from the light that he attracts. We think that everything depends on man's activities in this world, what people are doing with their hands and legs, and what they succeed in their research of nature, or the power plants they build, or the factories they build, or anything like that. But it's all nonsense. None of it would happen, none of it would appear without the light that is drawn by that one individual to the world, and then that light simply becomes clothed in the vessels, and the vessels discover it in a way that manifests as new things in this world, but really nothing begins from below. Everything comes from above.
When we, let's say, read the article of the Ummah, the nation, we see Baal Salam from his high degree calls everyone to unite, and he says otherwise there'll be great tragedies. How could it be that it's like a lime is dependent upon the flies, as if like if they don't do something that nothing will succeed.
Because it is time for them to begin this work consciously. It is time for them, as much as they can, as much as each can, to realize they have to unite. It's not that he unites them without their acknowledgement, without their understanding. On the spiritual level, he does what he needs. He connects them and draws the light that reforms to their vessels. And this is how he fulfills them, to the extent that he incorporates them within himself. And by the fulfillment that they receive somewhat through their work, their effort, they also advance at the level of the bodies. And the bodies are not bodies, it's just a replication of the soul at the lowest, simplest degree. So it turns out that there is a time when that Kabbalist does it, that individual, and at that point there's no need to discover the wisdom of Kabbalah, to disclose the wisdom of Kabbalah to all the others. They should do whatever they do, and eventually they don't do anything. They're a result of his work, but there comes a time of their preparation, meaning after he prepared them, that is, all the generations of Kabbalists who prepared them, those billions of little ones, and then those billions have to begin taking part consciously, knowingly. And this is called the end of the final exile and the beginning of the last redemption, called the days of Messiah, or Messiah's horn, which implies the dissemination of Kabbalah, the spreading of Kabbalah all over the world. And although those people have a very little, weak will to receive, everyone still must participate to their extent, to somewhat degree, in the whole process. And this is why the wisdom of Kabbalah is revealed by all the Kabbalists who worked before for the whole world in a hidden way, and they acted as the foundation of the world. Part of them were hidden, and then part of them go out to disseminate, because it is time for all those other pieces to not be just passive, but to become integrated and to show some demand. No one demands them to individually work towards the upper one, whereas they are demanded to relate themselves to the Kabbalists who are able to raise man to the upper one. It's like important organs in the body who have the body as well, and the body works and these organs work, and through the Kabbalists it rises higher and then even higher and so on. And this is how it's all structured, according to degrees called sons and fathers and forefathers, until the degree of Jacob and Moses and so on and so forth. This is how there's like a hierarchy from below upwards. So today, what's demanded is participation of adherence of the little souls to the higher souls, and those higher souls to even higher souls, and so on. Meaning, everything has to become revealed to the creatures first by that adhesion, by that belonging, and this is how it works in the structure from below upwards, until everyone knows the whole system by way of a circle, like one round thing. And then it'll be called Malchut of Ein Sof. But this is a must. This is the whole issue of Messiah. It is a common general force. This is what Baal Shalom writes about, Messiah's horn and so on, the disclosure of Kabbalah all around the world. What is the disclosure? What, that everyone hears about it? Disclosure meaning that everyone can use it in order to connect with others, consciously, raising man as much as one can, relating oneself to attaching oneself to the collective system. How? Through love thy friend as thyself. Of course, that's the only way to be connected to others. And then those exalted ones, those great ones, they raise man differently. They don't generate the man by themselves for the others. Rather, others start demanding it from them, like babies that grew up. They demand, but they want to be related, connected to the system, to the collective system. And it's a different kind of man in its quality. And then, the light of Chokhmah starts becoming apparent in the whole world, because their demand for correction already discloses Chokhmah. And the revelation of the Creator begins to appear in the creature. And that's through the light of Chasadim.
It looks like there is a direction here. There was once the Kabbalists and the nation, now they're getting closer. The Kabbalists are descending and the nation is rising.
This is what Baal Sulam asked of the Creator, that he will be lowered so he can speak to the masses. How are they connected? In mutual work. That work is obvious and clear to everyone as much as they can perceive it and grasp it, but they need to be explained, told about what is the man's effort, that we all should all yearn for connection between us in order to disclose the higher system, the system of the upper force. But it needs to be clear to them that nothing happens in our world, and nothing ever happened. Only those Kabbalists who worked from generation to the next pulled an additional light each time to this world, and therefore there was a small illumination in this world that sustained and developed this world. Without it, it couldn't even exist, and all the more so advance. That's why there had to be work of unique individuals, Kabbalists, in each and every generation, who secretly, modestly worked towards all the others. And now it's a different time. After all the preparation that they had done over the generations, we have to perform a collective conscious action. And it's called, they shall all know me from the greatest to the littlest.
Okay, so here's another question. Where do you see this direction in another generation or two? A great group of Kabbalists, a big group, or
humanity must recognize that there's a wisdom called the wisdom of Israel, and that we have to help each other disclose it. As it is written in Isaiah, Yeshayahu, that the nations of the world will carry the people of Israel to build the third temple, meaning the collective corrected Kli. So we have to awaken them and explain to them, and with their support, with their acknowledgement, we need to be able to recognize the method of correction for our souls, which is to unite in order for the Creator to fulfill us. And that work has to be a mutual work. That's why we literally have to address all the nations of the world in that way, so they understand what's our general task. We need to give away the wisdom of Kabbalah as per their demand, and then all of us together in a correct healthy collective participation must realize that method. This is why I think that the kind of connection that we have today with all our students, all our friends all over the world, should bring us to this kind of relationship. Although our friends all over the world all belong to what's called Israel, Yashar Kel, because they all have a point in the heart. But through them, to reach out to the nations of the world, meaning those who cannot be awakened. They don't have a point of awakening. They will only have an external adherence to it. It's like Baal Islam says that through the boundaries of Israel, the wisdom will nevertheless spread, flow, and fulfill the entire world. I don't have more words for this, but this is more or less how it is.
We see that in order for a person to connect to the wisdom of Kabbalah, he must really be participated, be engaged in somewhat. Otherwise, it just passes by him. It doesn't go through him. How can such a thing expand?
You're asking this. The wisdom of Kabbalah can be accepted in each one according to their subtlety and ability, sensitivity to grasp it, to perceive it. Some people develop faster, some people are more blocked and can't listen to it. Some people are even opposite to it. They're drawn to wisdom intellectually or all kinds of things. It doesn't matter. We need to do like it is written, educate a boy according to his own path, meaning as much as you can, you should explain in the most acceptable way. And it's not up to you to finish the job. The light, the upper light, does it all. Even that Kabbalist that draws the light and did that for generations, for all this world, by collecting all the minute little desires of all the people of the world and drawing the light that reforms for them, he himself also processed those desires in him into man and requested an answer for them from above. So now it works differently. But the thing is that he himself only draws the light as well. He doesn't know in what way the light that later settles in this world does its job. You know, some people build weapons, the other build industries, the other make revolutions in society, and who knows what. He doesn't know. He draws the light as much as possible by raising man, drawing the light that reforms. And that light operates. Now that light operates in a way they don't understand, the people of the world, and they don't know. They just get energized and inspired, and they get the mind to do things, but they don't understand where it comes from. And they don't have any strength of themselves. The will to receive is like dust. It's like it has no energy. Only that addition of light operates it, activates it. Otherwise, it wouldn't be energized. But in what way it will work, the Kabbalist who draws light doesn't know. It's like right now, what we're doing, in this moment, you're drawing the light. In the next moment, you'll feel the result. In what phenomenon, I don't know. You never know, because it's the next Shimo, the next state. It's always hidden. And it doesn't matter to me, because I'll accept it as desire, because it's on the right path. So you mustn't take that into consideration, and you mustn't calculate the way in which it will be revealed in this world. Then you turn into a fortune teller. It's forbidden to do that. You're only working upwards, not downwards. Well, these are things that, yes.
If we're talking about participation, Moshe from Los Angeles is asking, many students have signed up for the Mega Congress, which is beginning soon. How can we worry for them? What is the correct attitude towards these new students for them to feel the connection, to feel that they're taking part?
Is he there? Is he there waving at us? No, it's someone else. I see he's not there, as usual. Where is he? Sleeping? Okay. Well, what was the question?
What's the correct attitude towards the new people who are coming to the Mega Congress to feel part of this system?
I don't know. I don't think we need to do something with new people. You won't be able to have time to explain to them anything. The convention should simply be warm. People need to understand that our salvation is being connected, united. The more united we are, the better off we are. The less connected, the worse we are, both spiritually and corporally. And the world will gradually understand it. As much as we talk about it, blow adds to another blow, and then people become sensitive to what we're saying. It works in two directions. The Creator awakens the evil inclination, so let him do that. We only have to work in the positive direction, not to scare anyone or anything like that, but to simply understand that if you want to feel better, it's only through connection. Otherwise, it'll be different. It's not worth it.
Rami from the US is asking, in this Mega Congress, how will we know that we're connected? How do I identify this? Is this revealed in my senses along with my friend? What's the identification here?
I think there are two things here. First of all, the fact that we're trying to unite, and we'll be talking about it, doing all kinds of activities towards it, and taking part in different things that express our connection. The thing is that what we are expecting is a revelation of the force of bestowal between us, the force of love called Creator. I can't talk anymore. That revelation is what we await, what we want to happen. To the extent we desire it and we are capable of it, and we can have this revelation, then it could be revealed. This is called crossing the mahsom, crossing the barrier, moving from the will to receive to the will to bestow. That transition that takes place is called crossing the mahsom. Well, let's hope it'll happen. If it happens to everyone, or in different levels and extents, according to each and everyone's preparation, momentarily or permanently for others, or partially for others, and they still need to go down and put more effort perhaps in order to achieve that permanent state, and so on. There are different situations and states, but basically we're all expecting the revelation of the quality of bestowal and love within us, which is called revealing the Creator to the creature in this world. This is the whole goal and target of the wisdom of Kabbalah. That's what we want to achieve. Let's hope for it. Yes. Yes, please.
When we read the writings of Baal Sulam, I find as if he writes in a very broad sense and very deep also. When we read the Rabash, it's like he's just like handing it to us on a silver platter. And for us, does this say something about humanity, or is this just my sensation?
This is correct. It's true. It's really so. The Baal Sulam writes from a very high level. his language is very, kind of poetic even. He's something unique. What can you say about it? On the one hand. On the other hand, his language is very clear, with all that profoundness. We don't even understand what he includes there in depth and in width, but it's very clear. It's true that it's not a day-to-day language that you hear on the street, and with all those manners that are somewhat biblical or archaic. He has his own background and so on. You too, if you speak on the street, after a few years you already speak differently, and you can feel that you have different connections between the words and different words and so on. But what can you do? It comes from that profession. So Rabbas tried to be completely different, yes, although how he spoke and how he wrote were very different. Baal Sulam also spoke very differently than how he wrote, very differently. Yes, for us it's a little hard, difficult. This is why Rabash always advised me to summarize Baal Sulam, to clean the text, to clean it up, to summarize it, to leave things that I may maybe already remember, and to kind of keep the principles, and to try to do it and see how much you succeeded doing it, and then throw it away, and then do it again, because each time you'll see how you can process it differently. I think I did it dozens of times with the writings of Baal Sulam. I'm not talking about the Tess and Zohar, but the essays and the letters. It's very effective, very beneficial. I recommend doing that.
You're talking about conscious actions, revelations of the wisdom of Israel, and revelation from above below. Well, the audience, the masses today, they want practicality. What can we do to bring the audience to connect with this?
Practically, you won't see, because you can't see the will to bestow as long as you are in the will to receive. So you won't see it like that in practice. What you will see is great despair in this world, and God forbid you'll feel really bad in this world, or by some illumination, by our dissemination, you'll discover that there is something great ahead. You'll have a feeling that you can't take control of anything here. Not just in terms of an ecological disaster or something like that, but you just can't control anything, and you don't know what's going to happen in the next moment. You're saying the world wants things that are practical, and it's actually quite the opposite. People discover lack of practical way to do something and confidence in every realm. In practice means when there's a clear goal and clear steps towards it. Where do you see this thing in the world? It's all opposite. Everyone descends to a degree of existence that never happened so far. People always had a goal in the past. People always wanted to attain something and went towards it. Some people wanted this, the other people wanted that, and there was competition and so on. Today, it's nothing. What practical thing? People don't even want anything, because we lost taste of anything. We lost meaning of anything. We saw that it's even better to not desire anything. As long as our body lives, we will live. Just give me a supermarket and a doctor if I need. Give me my pension and vacation, and I'm done. And if I was born forcefully, then I'll live forcefully, but at least I'll live as best as I can, and let me die peacefully. Soon they'll sell in the pharmacies some pill that you can take and go to sleep and not get up. And that's the life. So what purpose is there? There's nothing purposeful. Who thinks about a purpose these days? No one.
So where's the advancement here that's positive? You say it's through suffering and
despair.
But where's the hastening? Where's the good? This is what we're trying to do.
No, because this is still the transitioning time. Later, a person will not be able to bear it. A person who is studying here with us also went through some time in life where he felt that there's no purpose. So what do I do with life? Is it worth living? What do I need to get up in the morning for? What will it give me? If I get up and go out, what does it give me? If in the past I wanted more control or more dominion or money or honor, or I hate someone and I can hurt him and there's something to live for. Do I have something to live for? It's a big problem. Let's hope that we will bring this despaired world some light. And with this,
final announcements. The big mega congress is hugging the world. The 23rd to the 25th of July, beginning tomorrow, including more than 60 countries and Kabbalah centers around the world. Beginning the opening tomorrow. There'll be unique lessons with Rav Leitman, and after that, a special sitting of friends. Yeshivat Chaverim. You're all welcome to come to your nearest centers or watch through the internet and participate in the event in every way possible. For more details, go to www.Kabbalah.info. And now we'll watch a short clip regarding the Evening of Unity, which will be the culmination of this mega congress on Sunday. On the 25th of July, the world is connecting to Israel. The Evening of Unity, a global event, 60 countries around the world, tens of thousands of peoples, and a hug that goes around the world. The global Evening of Unity starts on 6 p.m. Israel time on the 25th of July, which is Sunday, physically in Tel Aviv or also around the world. For more details, go to www.Kabbalah.info.
מדליקה את האש בתוכנו